Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at some sample answers from the H56702 practice paper for psychological themes through core studies, and this video is just going to be on section A, but there will be a section B and section C coming soon. So, with reference to Milgram's study of obedience, describe what the study found in relation to how individuals respond to people in authority for 4 marks. Milgram's study found that although in general most individuals will obey a legitimate authority figure, even when they are asked to do things that go against their ethical and moral beliefs, such as giving other people electric shocks when they answer a memory question wrongly, they show signs of extreme tension such as sweating, trembling, stuttering, etc. whilst doing so. This is the second question. From Kohlberg's study into the stages of moral development, describe 2 stages of pre-conventional moral thinking. Kohlberg proposed that the pre-conventional level of moral development, which children go through between the ages of 4 to 10, consists of 2 stages. The first stage is punishment and obedience orientation, in which children keep set rules, regardless of their human meaning or value, to avoid punishment. The second stage is known as instrumental relativist orientation, in which children behave in an expected and acceptable way because doing so allows them to satisfy their own needs, and occasionally those of others. Elements of fairness are present, but they are always interpreted in a physical, pragmatic way. So, yep, that's the 4 marker for that, so pretty simple. Describe one similarity between Sperry's split brain study and Casey et al.'s study of neural correlates of delay of gratification for 3 marks. One way in which the study by Sperry 1968 is similar to the study conducted by Casey et al. 2011 is that both studies demonstrate the functions of the specific regions of the brain. For example, Sperry's study shows the role that the corpus callosum plays, acting as a communication pathway between the 2 hemispheres of the brain. Similarly, Casey et al. Showed that the role of the ventral striatum and the inferior frontal gyrus play in terms of being able to show self-control. Therefore, in this respect, the 2 studies can be said to be similar. I'm just going to go back to that question. Always just kind of repeat the question for your first line, then give some evidence and then explain. So point, evidence, explain always for 3 markers. If it was a 6 mark, you do the same thing, but twice. So from Levine's study into cross-cultural altruism, outline how Levine investigated helping behavior for 3 marks. Levine investigated helping behavior through the use of a field experiment conducted in 23 large cities around the world, such as New York, Calcutta, Madrid, and Rome. 3 helping measures were measured. These were whether pedestrians would help A person who dropped a pen, B, a person with a bad leg who was trying to pick up a pile of magazines, C, an apparently blind person who was trying to cross the road at a pedestrian crossing. 5a. From Maguire's study of taxi drivers, suggest the purpose of using a correlation in this study for 2 marks. The purpose of using a correlation in this study was to see if there was a relationship between the volume of grey matter in the posterior and anterior hippocampi and the length of time that each of the taxi drivers had spent as a taxi driver. 5b. From Maguire's study of taxi drivers, describe what the correlation indicated in this study. The correlation indicated that the longer the individual had worked as a taxi driver, the smaller the volume of the grey matter in the anterior hippocampus. 6. Outline one conclusion that can be drawn in relation to visual inattention from Simons and Chabris' study. One conclusion that can be drawn from this study is that many individuals fail to notice an ongoing and highly salient but unexpected event such as a gorilla or an umbrella woman moving across the screen if they are already engaged in a primary monitoring task such as watching a videotape of a basketball game and counting the number of passes. 7. Explain the different external influences on children's behavior in Bandura's study on the transmission of aggression and Cheney et al.'s Funhaler study. Bandura's study shows that behavior can develop through the process of social learning theory, where individuals observe the behavior displayed by significant others and then, when later given the opportunity, imitate the behavior that they have witnessed. Children in this study who observed a model behave aggressively towards a Bobo doll were more likely to imitate such behavior when later given the opportunity than children who observed a non-aggressive model or no model at all. On the other hand, Cheney et al.'s study shows that behavior can develop through the process of operant conditioning, where individuals repeat behaviors that have led to pleasant consequences. Adherence to asthma medication was improved because the use of the Funhaler produced a pleasant consequence which acted as a behavioural reinforcement, and this was via the use of the incentive module, which had a toy that spun round as they breathed through the inhaler. 8. From the Baron-Cohen et al. Study into autism in adults, describe the purpose of the basic emotion recognition task. For 2 marks. The basic emotion recognition task was used to check whether any deficits on the eyes task could be attributed to a deficit in basic emotion expression recognition. 9. Suggest how Freud's study of little hands is relevant to the area of individual differences for 3 marks. The individual differences area sees everyone as unique, with unique behaviours which differ from anyone else's. Freud's study is relevant to this area because although Freud believed every boy experiences the Oedipus complex, the way little hands displayed this subconscious experience through a phobia of horses, which Freud believed was actually a fear of his father because he would castrate him if he found out about his sexual desires for his mother, was unique to him. This fear will be displayed differently by other young boys. 10a. From Grant et al. Study into context-dependent memory, describe how the sample was obtained in this study. 8 members of a psychology class acted as experimenters and each asked 5 friends or acquaintances to act as participants. Using this method, they obtained 40 participants, but 1 was omitted from the results because his findings were atypically low. 10b. From Grant et al. Study into context-dependent memory, suggest one way in which this sample may be biased. Participants were recruited by the experimenters and were probably their friends. Therefore, this sample was not representative of the general population and was made up of certain types of people, so it was biased. For example, since the experimenters were actually from a psychology class, most of the people in this study probably were students. From Gold's study into bias in IQ testing, outline one problem with the design of the IQ test used by Yerkes. 2 marks. Many of the army recruits were illiterate/uneducated, so could not read the questions. Even though the army beta test was designed for them, many of the recruits who were illiterate were not given the chance to do this test because of bigger than expected queues for this test and time constraints. Thank you for watching that short video on Section A of the Psychological Themes through Core Studies paper. I hope you made notes and actually went through and made your own answers. But thank you for watching, and I'll be making some more videos, so make sure you check those out. Thank you.